Lesson 2 for July 6 through to 12, Blueprint for a Better World, read by Dr. Percy Harold. Thursday, July 11, the Year of Jubilee. Meeting the Israelites as a people who had no home of their own, and who were waiting for their arrival in the Promised Land, God knew the importance that the land would take on as they established their new society in Canaan. Under the leadership of Joshua, God oversaw an orderly distribution of the land by tribe and family groups. But he also knew that over time, the wealth, opportunity and resources that were connected with landholding would tend to become concentrated in the hands of the few. Family difficulties, ill health, poor choices, and other misfortune might cause some landholders to sell their lands for short-term gain or simply to survive. But this would mean the family might be dispossessed for successive generations. God's solution was to decree that land could never be sold absolutely. Instead, land would be sold only until the next year of Jubilee, at which time the land would revert to its allotted family, and any land sold could be redeemed by the seller or another member of the seller's family at any time. Again, God reminds the people of their relationship to him and how that affects their relationships with others. Leviticus 25 verse 23. The land must not be sold permanently, because the land is mine, and you reside in my land as foreigners and strangers. Question. Read Leviticus 25 verses 8 through to 23. How do you imagine society would be different if these principles were applied, especially the words, "You shall not oppress one another"? Leviticus 25, verse 8 through to 23. And you shall count 7 Sabbaths of years for yourself, 7 times 7 years, and the time of the 7th Sabbaths of years shall be to you 49 years. Then you shall count the trumpet of the Jubilee to sound on the 10th day of the 7th month. On the Day of Atonement you shall make the trumpet to sound throughout all your land, and you shall consecrate the 50th year, and proclaim liberty throughout all the land to all its inhabitants. It shall be a jubilee for you, and each of you shall return to his possession, and each of you shall return to his family. That 50th year shall be a jubilee to you. In it you shall neither sow nor reap what grows of its own accord, nor gather the grapes of your untended vine. For it is the jubilee, it shall be holy to you, and you shall eat its produce from the field. In this year of Jubilee, each of you shall return to his possession, and if you sell anything to your neighbour or buy from your neighbour's hand, you shall not oppress one another. According to the number of years after the Jubilee, you shall buy from your neighbour, and according to the number of years of crops he shall sell to you. According to the multitude of years you shall increase its price, and according to the fewer numbers of years you shall diminish its price. For he sells to you according to the number of the years of the crops. Therefore you shall not oppress one another, but you shall fear your God, for I am the Lord your God. So you shall observe my statutes and keep my judgments and perform them, and you will dwell in the land in safety. Then the land will yield its fruit, and you will eat your fill and dwell there in safety. And if you say, What shall we eat in the 7th year, since we shall not sow nor gather in our produce? Then I will command my blessing on you in the 6th year, and it will bring forth produce enough for 3 years. And you shall sow in the 8th year, and eat old produce until the 9th year. Until its produce comes in, you shall eat of the old harvest. The land shall not be sold permanently, for the land is mine. For you are strangers and sojourners with me. In Patriarchs and Prophets, page 534, we read, The regulations that God established were designed to promote social equality. The provisions of the sabbatical year and the Jubilee would, in a great measure, set right that which during the interval had gone wrong in the social and political economy of the nation. End of quote. Bible historians are unsure as to whether these economic and social rhythms were ever fully followed for any significant period of time. See 2 Chronicles chapter 36 and verse 21, to fulfill the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah, until the land had enjoyed her Sabbaths. As long as she lay desolate, she kept Sabbath to fulfill 70 years. Even so, these rules offer an intriguing glimpse into how the world might work if God's laws were fully followed. Moreover, they underline God's particular concern for the poor and the marginalised, as well as his concern that fairness be manifested in practical ways in our world. You have been listening to a reading of the Adult Sabbath School Bible Study Guide by Dr. Percy Harold from Queensland, Australia. This service is brought to you by Hope Channel, the Sabbath School Department, and Christian Services for the Blind. Remember, God is always faithful.